major AI breakthrough, Elon Musk's company XAI has officially launched Grok 3, the latest version of its chatbot. Musk, along with his team, showcased the AI's capabilities in a live discussion. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
So the mission of XAI and Grok is to understand the universe. We want to understand the nature of the universe so we can figure out what's going on, where are the aliens, what's the meaning of life, how does the universe end, how did it start, all these fundamental questions. We're driven by curiosity about the nature of the universe, and that's also what causes us to be a maximally truth-seeking AI, even if that truth is sometimes at odds with what is politically correct. In order to understand the nature of the universe, you must absolutely rigorously pursue truth, or you will not understand the universe. You'll be suffering from some amount of delusion or error. So that is our goal.
That really the only way for XAI to succeed, for XAI to build the best AI out there, is to build our own data center. So we didn't have a lot of time, right, because we wanted to give you Grok 3 as quickly as possible. So really, we realized we have to build the data center in about 4 months. It turned out it took us 122 days to get the first 100K GPUs up and running, and that was a monumental effort to be able to do that. We believe it's the biggest fully connected H100 cluster of its kind. We didn't just stop there. We actually decided that we need to double the size of the cluster pretty much immediately if we want to build the kind of AI that we want to build. So we then
know all the paths, all the roads leads to Grok 3. 10x more compute.
More than 10x, really.
Yeah, really.
Like maybe 15x.
Yep, compared to our previous generation model. And Grok 3 finished the pre-training early January. Then we start, the model is still currently training, actually. So this is a little preview of our benchmark numbers. So we evaluated Grok 3 on 3 different categories: on general mathematical reasoning, on general knowledge about STEM and science, and then also on computer science, coding. So AIME, American Invitational Math Examination, hosts it once a year. And if we evaluate the model performance, we can see that the Grok 3 across the board is in a league of its own. Even its little brother, Grok 3 Mini, is reaching the frontier across all the other competitors. So you would say, well, at this point, all these benchmarks, you're just evaluating, the memorization of the textbooks, memorization of the GitHub repos. How about the real-time usefulness? How about we actually use those models in our product? So what we did instead, but we believe here at XAI, getting the best pre-training model is not enough. That's not enough to build the best AI. And the best AI need to think like a human. You need to contemplate about all the possible solutions, self-critique, verify all the solutions, backtrack, and also think from the first principle.
Exactly. This is the Grok interface, and we've typed in this text that you can see here: generate code for an animated 3D plot of a launch from Earth, landing on Mars, and then back to Earth at the next launch window. And we've now kicked off the query, and you can see Grok is thinking. So part of Grok's advanced reasoning capabilities are these thinking traces that you can see here. You can even go inside and actually read what Grok is thinking as it's going through the problem, as it's trying to solve it.
Yeah, we should we are doing some obscuration of the thinking. So we should we are doing some obscuration of the thinking so that our model doesn't get totally copied instantly. So there's more to the thinking than is displayed.
Yeah, and because this is totally unscripted, there's actually a chance that Grok might make a little coding mistake, and it might not actually work.
Let's see how Grok does on those interesting, challenging benchmarks. So reasoning, again, refers to those models that actually thinks for quite a long time before it tries to solve a problem. So in this case, around a month ago, the Grok 3 pre-training finished. So after that, we worked very hard to put the reasoning capability into the current Grok 3 model. But again, this is very early days, so the model is still currently in training. So right now, what we're going to show to people is this beta version of the Grok 3 reasoning model. Alongside, we also are training a mini version of the reasoning model. So essentially, on this plot, you can see the Grok 3 reasoning beta and then Grok 3 mini reasoning. The Grok 3 mini reasoning is actually a model that we train for much longer time. And you can see that sometimes it actually performs slightly better compared to the Grok 3 reasoning. This also just means that there's a huge potential for the Grok 3 reasoning because it's trained for much less time. All right, so let's actually look at how it does on those 3 benchmarks. So Jimmy also introduced already. So essentially, we're looking at 3 different areas: mathematics, science, and coding. And for math, we're picking this high school competition math problem. For science, we actually pick those PhD level science questions. And for coding, it's also actually pretty challenging. It's competitive coding and also some lead code, which is some code interview problems that people usually get when they interview for companies. So on those benchmarks, you can see that the Grok 3 actually performed quite well across the board compared to other competitors. So it's pretty promising. These models are very smart.
Yeah. So Tony, what are those shaded bars?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked this question. So for those models, because it can reason, it can think, you can also ask them to even think longer. You can spend more what we call test and compute, which means you can spend more time to reason, to think about a problem before you spit out the answer. So in this case, the shaded bar here means that we just ask the model to spend more time. It can solve the same problem many times before it tries to conclude what is the right solution. And once you give this compute or this kind of budget to the model, it turns out the model can even perform better. So this is essentially the shaded bar in those plots.
Right. So I think this is really exciting, right? Because now, instead of just doing one chain of thoughts with AI, why not do multiple all at once?
Yes.
So that's a very powerful technique that allows us to continue to scale the model capabilities after training. And people often ask, are we actually just overfitting to the benchmarks?
Yes.
So how about generalization?
So yes, I think, this is definitely a question that we are asking ourselves, whether we are overfitting to those current benchmarks. Luckily, we have a real test. So about 5 days ago, AMY 2025 just finished. This is where high school students compete in this particular benchmark. So we got this very fresh new competition, and then we asked our 2 models to compete on the same benchmark, the same exam. And it turns out, very interestingly, the Grok 3 reasoning, the big one, actually does better on this particular new fresh exam. This also means that the generalization capability of the big model is stronger, much stronger compared to the smaller model. If you compare to the last year's exam, actually this is the opposite. The smaller model kind of learns the previous exams better. So this actually shows some kind of true generalization from the model.
That's right. So 17 months ago, our Grok 0 and Grok 1 barely solved any high school problems.
That's right.
And now we have a kid that just already graduated. The Grok is ready to go to college. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, it won't be long before it's simply perfect. The human exams won't be hard. They'll be too easy.
Yeah. And internally, we actually, as the Grok continue evolves, we're going to talk about what we're excited about. But very soon, there will be no more benchmark left.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that's quite fascinating, I think, is that we basically only trained Grok's reasoning abilities on math problems and competitive coding problems. Right? So very, very specialized kinds of tasks, but somehow it's able to work on all kinds of other different tasks. So including creating games, lots and lots of different things. And what seems to be happening is that basically Grok learns this ability to detect its own mistakes in its thinking, correct them, persist on a problem, try lots of different variants, pick the one that's best. So there are these generalizing abilities that Grok learns from mathematics and from coding, which it can then use to solve all kinds of other problems. So that's pretty.
I mean, reality is the instantiation of mathematics.
That's right. And one thing we're actually really excited about, that going back to our founding mission, is what if one day we have a computer just like Deep Thought that utilize our entire cluster just for that one very important problem in the test time. And all the GPU turned on, right? So I think back then we were building the GPU clusters together. You were plugging cables. And I remember that when we turned on the first initial test, you can hear all the GPUs humming in the hallway. That's almost feel like spiritual. Yeah,
that's actually a pretty cool thing that we're able to do, that we can go into the data center and tinker with the machines there. So for example, we went in and we unplugged a few of the cables and just made sure that our training setup is still running stably. So that's something that I think most AI teams out there don't usually do, but it's actually totally unlocks like a new level of reliability and what you're able to do with the hardware. So
Okay, so when are we going to solve Riemann?
So the easiest solution is to enumerate over all possible strings. And as long as you have a verifier, enough compute, you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
My projection will be,
What's your guess? What does your neural net calculate?
so my bold prediction, so 3 years ago I told you this, I think now it's 2 years later, two things are going to happen. We're going to see machines win some medals.
Yeah.
That's Turing's Award,
Absolutely.
Fields Medal, Nobel Prize, with probably some expert in the loop, right? So the expert uplifting.
Do you mean so this year or next year?
Okay.
That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah. I mean,
So it looks like Grok finished all of its thinking on the two problems. So let's take a look at what it said. All right. So this was the little physics problem we had. We've collapsed the thoughts here, so they're hidden. And then we see Grok's answer below that. So it explains, it wrote a Python script here using matplotlib, then gives us all of the code. So let's take a quick look at the code. Seems like it's doing reasonable things here, not totally off the mark. Solve Kepler says here, so maybe it's solving Kepler's law numerically. There's really only one way to find out if this thing is working. I'd say let's give it a try. Let's run the code. All right, and we can see. Grok is animating two different planets, Earth and Mars here, and then the green ball is the vehicle that's transiting, the spacecraft that's transitioning between Earth and Mars. And you could see the journey from Earth to Mars, and it looks like, indeed, the astronauts returned safely, at the right moment in time. Obviously, this was just generated on the spot, so we can't tell you if that was actually a correct solution. So we're going to take a closer look. Maybe we're going to call some colleagues from SpaceX, ask them if this is legit.
It's pretty close. There's a lot of complexities in the actual orbits that have to be taken into account, but this is pretty close to what it looks like.
Awesome. Cool.
In fact, I have that on my pendant here. This has got the Earth-Mars home and transfer on it.
Yeah.
As you just saw, Grok 3 is not just smarter, but also faster, integrating real-time knowledge with an enhanced problem-solving approach. But that's not all. Musk also revealed a new AI-powered search tool called Deep Search, aiming to revolutionize the way we access information.
We also have an output from Grok here. It says wrote a Python script, explains that it's what it's been doing. If you look at the code, there are some constants that are being defined here, some colors, then the terminals, the pieces of Tetris are there. Obviously, very hard to see at one glance if this is good. So we gotta run this to figure out if it's working. Well, let's give it a try. Fingers crossed. All right. So this kind of looks like Tetris, but the colors are a little bit off. Right, the colors are different here. And if you think about what's going on here, the joule has this mechanic where if you get 3 joules in a row, then they disappear. And also gravity activates, right? So what happens if you get 3 of the colors together? Okay, so something happened. So I think what Grok did in this version is that once you connect at least 3 blocks of the same color in a row, then gravity activates and they disappear, and then gravity activates and all the other blocks fall down. Kind of curious if there's still a Tetris mechanic here where if the line is full, does it actually clear it, or what happens then? It's up to interpretation, so who knows?
Yeah, it'll do different variants when you ask it. It doesn't do the same thing every time.
Exactly. We've seen a few other Tetris that worked very differently, but this one seems cool. So yeah.
Are we ready for Game Studio at X.AI?
Yes. So we're launching an AI gaming studio at XAI. If you're interested in joining us in building AI games, please join XAI. We're launching an AI gaming studio. We're announcing it tonight. Let's go. Epic games. But wait, that's tonight.
We see a high-level progress bar. Essentially, the model not only just going to do one single search like the current RAG system, but actually thought very deeply about, hey, what's the user intent here? And what are the flags I should consider at the same time? And how many different websites I should actually go and read their content? Right. So this is what model does. So we can actually go back to our very first one. How about
Buffett wasn't counting on this.
It's already done.
That's right. Okay, so we got the result of the first one. The model thought around 1 minute. Okay, so the key insight here, the next startup is going to be on 24th or later, so no earlier than February 24th.
It might be sooner.
So yeah, so I think we can scroll down what the model does. So it does a little research on the Flight 7, what happened, got grounded, and actually it looked into the FCC filing, from its data collections. And then actually made a new conclusion that, if we continue to scroll down, right. Yeah, so it makes the little table, I think, inside XAI, we often joked about the time to the first table is the only latency that matters. So that's how the model makes the inference and look up all the sources. And then we can look into the gaming one. So how about right. So for this particular one, we look at, the build is like, it's kind of like all the meta. Right?
Yeah.
So what the infernal is, but if we go down, so the surprising fact of all the other builds, so it look into the 12 classes. So we'll see that the minion build was pretty popular whenever the game first came out, and now the invokers of the world kind of took over.
Monk Invoker for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, followed by the Stone Weavers, and that's really good at mapping. So yeah, and then we can see the March Madness. How about that? So one interesting thing about the deep search is that if you actually go into the panel where it shows what are the subtasks, you can actually click the bottom left of this, right? And then in this case, you can actually scroll through, actually reading to the mind of Grok. What informations does the model actually think about are trustworthy, what are not? How does it actually cross-validate different information sources? So that makes the entire search experience and information retrieval process a lot more transparent to our users.
And this is much more powerful than any search engine out there. You can literally just tell it, only use sources from X, and it will try to respect that.
Yeah.
And so it's much more steerable, much more intelligent.
I mean, it really should save you a lot of time. So something that might take you half an hour or an hour of researching on the web or searching social media, you can just ask it to go do that and come back, and 10 minutes later, it's done an hour's worth of work for you. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly.
And maybe better than you could have done it yourself.
Yeah. Think about you have infinite amount of interns working for you. Now you can just fire up all the tasks and come back a minute later. So this is going to be an interesting one. So March Madness had not happened yet. So I guess we have to follow up with a next live stream.
Yeah, and it seems like pretty good. Like $40 might get you $1 billion. $40 subscription.
That's right.
I mean, my word.
So so when are the users gonna have their hands on Grok 3?
Yeah, so the good news is we've been working tirelessly to actually release all of these features that we've shown you, the Grok 3 base model with amazing chat capabilities that's really useful, that's really interesting to talk to, the deep search, the advanced reasoning mode, all of these things. We want to roll them out to you today, starting with the Premium Plus subscribers on X. So it's the first group that will initially get access. Make sure to update your X app if you want to see all of the advanced capabilities, because we just released the update now as we're talking here. If you're interested in getting early access to Grok, then sign up for Premium Plus. And also, we're announcing that we're starting a separate subscription for Grok that we call Super Grok, for those real Grok fans that want the most advanced capabilities and the earliest access to new features. So feel free to check that out as well.
This is for the dedicated Grok app and for the website.
Exactly.
Grok website.
So our new website is called grok.com.
Yeah.
And you'll also
You'd never guess.
Yeah, you'd never guess. And you can also find our Grok app in the iOS App Store. And that gives you like a more even more polished experience that's totally Grok focused. If you want to have Grok easily available, one tap away.
Yeah, and the version on grok.com on a web browser is going to be the latest and most advanced version, because obviously it takes us a while to get something into an app and then get it approved by the App Store. So and then if something's in a phone format, there's limitations of what you can do. So the most powerful version of Grok and the latest version will be the web version at grok.com.
Yeah. So watch out for the name Grok 3 in the app.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. That's the giveaway, that you have Grok 3, and if it says Grok 2, then Grok 3 hasn't quite arrived for you yet, but we're working hard to roll this out today and then to even more people over the coming days.
Yeah, make sure you update your phone app too, where you're actually going to get all the tools.
With Grok 3 now available on X, the competition in AI is heating up. Will this be the chatbot that redefines the industry? Stay tuned for more updates on the evolving world of AI.
Subscribe to AI Meets Marketing and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.